Hey guys! Tonight we find ourselves in the sun-warmed alleyways of medieval Cairo. Spice-thick air, barefoot children racing past donkey carts, and the call to prayer humming from every direction like a lullaby wrapped in gold. You sit beneath the tattered awning of your once booming spice stall, sipping tea that tastes like regret. Merchants pass with wary glances. No one stops. You used to command lines of traders, bags of cinnamon from Ceylon, saffron from Persia, sandalwood from the coast. Now, even the mice ignore your crates. You probably won't survive this. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and what time you're listening. It's always fun to see how far these sleepy stories travel. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your name, once a fixture of respect in every caravanserai from Fez to Basra, has become a warning. They say you gambled away your fortune. Others whisper darker things, that you cheated pilgrims, or worse, made a pact with something not quite human. The truth? You honestly don't know anymore. 1 week ago, you woke to find your warehouse ransacked, your ledgers gone, your servants vanished, even your prized Persian cat gone, as if it never existed. You stumbled into the street, confused, only to find your shop sealed shut with a red wax sigil you didn't recognize. People averted their eyes. Your name no longer opened doors. It closed them. It's worth noting, Cairo at this time, roughly the late 13th century, was a global melting pot. Traders from every corner of the world passed through. One minor misstep, one ruined reputation, and you could fall from prince to pariah overnight. The Mamluks ran things with a strict hand, but even they couldn't police rumors. You try to plead your case. Old friends pretend not to hear. A spice broker spits at your feet. It's only when you sit beside the Nile at dusk, watching a heron stalk its shadow, that the despair hits you full force. You've been erased. Then comes the voice. You dropped something. It's a lie. You dropped nothing. But there he stands, cloaked in deep green, beard silver-threaded, eyes gleaming like someone who knows too much. In his palm, a small coin. Your coin, maybe, or maybe not. You accept it without thinking, and that's the first mistake. Merchant, he says, voice like wind over dunes. You've lost much, but I can offer you a way out, a task. You glance sideways. No one else seems to see him. Classic. What kind of task? You ask. Too exhausted to run. A simple delivery, he says, handing you a worn leather satchel. Take this across the eastern desert. Deliver it to the city with no name. Do not open it. Do not ask. Do this, and your name will be yours again. You want to laugh, or scream, or ask why your choices feel like riddles. Instead, you nod. That's the second mistake. Historians still argue whether such tales, where one bad day leads to supernatural deals, are moral warnings or coded political commentaries. Maybe they're both. Or maybe it's just easier to believe in cursed merchants than in bad accounting. You return to your empty room. The satchel feels heavy, like it contains sand and iron and bad luck. You stare at it all night, wondering if it's filled with coins or curses. The next morning, you wrap it in cloth, tie it twice, and tuck it deep beneath your robes. You buy a camel with your last coin. Her name is Sour Date. She bites. Often, Cairo shrinks behind you like a story you're done reading. Ahead, endless beige. The eastern desert is older than empire and crueler than truth. And now you've agreed to cross it with a stranger's satchel and no explanation. Oh, and did we mention you forgot to ask why the city has no name? Classic you. You and Sour Date, who seems to hate you more with each step Begin your trek eastward as the minarets of Cairo dissolve behind heat shimmer. The air changes first. It becomes stiller, less like air and more like something holding its breath. Every grain of sand crunches with dramatic flair beneath your camel's hooves, as if the desert is announcing your arrival. It doesn't take long for reality to set in. You're alone, and you've made a very questionable decision. You've never crossed the eastern desert before. It's not exactly the kind of place you casually wander through. Satchel full of mystery tucked under your arm, pretending you know what you're doing. A few hours in, your lips crack, your water gourd leaks. Sourdate bites your sleeve. She's right. You're in over your head. The satchel bumps against your hip with each step. Whatever's inside feels alive, not in the heartbeat sense. More like it's thinking, judging you. You resist the urge to peek. You're not that stupid. Yet, the sun climbs high. You pass skeletal remains of a caravan cart, half buried, as if the desert decided to eat it and got bored halfway through. Bits of silk flutter from its broken ribs. You poke around for supplies, find a tarnished ring, a broken flute, and a hand-drawn map that's less helpful than a tea-stained napkin. Still, you pocket it, just in case. About a day in, you meet your first stranger. He appears out of nowhere, seated on a red pillow in the middle of nowhere, beneath a tattered parasol made of vulture feathers. His robe is violet. His smile is too wide. "Lovely day for a quest," he says. You squint. "How do you know I'm on a quest?" He shrugs. "Everyone out here's on one. Either that or dead. Usually both." He offers you a fig from a golden plate that wasn't there a second ago. You decline. That's your third correct decision so far. He sighs and plucks at a lyre. Badly. "Word of advice, don't stop walking. Don't drink from the silver pool. Don't insult the hawks." You blink. "What hawks?" "But he's gone." This kind of thing isn't entirely made up. In medieval Islamic folklore, desert spirits, jinn, ghoul, or simply cursed travelers, were said to test the intentions of those who wandered too far from known paths. Some even insisted the desert rearranged itself to trap the unworthy. By sunset, you're half convinced you've been walking in circles. Sourdate refuses to budge until you bribe her with a shriveled apple you find wedged in your boot. Don't ask. As night falls, the temperature plummets. Your cloak, so stifling in the afternoon, now feels like wet tissue. You light a fire with dry camel dung and shredded map edges. The satchel sits beside you like an awkward guest. You ask it a question. "What's in you?" It says nothing. Rude. You sleep fitfully, waking every time the wind sounds like it's whispering your name. Probably because it is. At some point, you dream of Cairo, your mother's laughter, the smell of cardamom bread, your cat scratching your ankle with casual disdain. You wake with tears frozen on your cheek. The second day is worse. The sun hits harder. You run out of water. Sourdate considers eating your shoes. You hallucinate a parade of onion vendors dancing in slow motion. Then, just before sunset, you see something impossible. A man riding a massive tortoise, reading a scroll. "Excuse me," you rasp. "Do you know the way to the city with no name?" The man looks up, frowns. "Which one?" "There are 7. You want to cry?" He tosses you a water skin. "You've got one more day of walking. Turn left at the howling rocks. If you reach the trees that bleed, you've gone too far." You stare. "That's specific." He nods, then vanishes in a puff of coconut-scented smoke. Mainstream scholars will tell you desert hallucinations are real. Heat stroke, exhaustion, dehydration. But then again, some of those same scholars believe the tale of the merchant of Cairo is a metaphor for moral rebirth. Others argue it's a political allegory wrapped in folklore to avoid offending the Sultan. Still others say it's just a warning. Don't accept satchels from strangers. As dusk paints the dunes in violet, You finally reach the howling rocks. They live up to their name. Wind funnels through jagged black stone, making noises like someone wailing into a clay jug. You set camp there, exhausted. You don't even question why there's a small fire already lit when you arrive. The satchel rests beside you, heavier now, or maybe your arms are just tired. You fall asleep to the sound of the rocks weeping. The desert sun shows no mercy. It rises like an executioner's blade, swift, unfeeling, and blinding. You jolt awake, lips crusted with sand, mouth drier than a bureaucrat's bedtime story. Sour Date is already standing, chewing something unwise, possibly a scorpion. You don't ask. You trudge onward. Every step is a negotiation. Your legs want to stop, your brain wants to scream, and the satchel keeps pressing into your hip like a smug secret. You adjust it, again, for the 100th time. Still no peaking. Gold star for self-control. The desert's rhythm is deceptive. It seems empty. Still. But only because it's watching. You pass stones arranged in spirals, then triangles, then a perfect crescent. At one point, you swear you see a cat made of wind trotting beside you. It doesn't look at you. It just exists. That somehow makes it worse. You reach the trees that bleed by midday. Yes, they're real. Thin, spindly things with bark the color of dried blood. When the wind hits them right, red sap oozes from hairline cracks, dripping into the sand like a sacrificial ritual on repeat. You back away slowly. The man on the tortoise was right. You've gone too far. Backtrack, left turn at the howling rocks. Again. By late afternoon, your canteen is dry again. Sour Date glares. You glare back. Somewhere in the distance, a mirage of Cairo flickers, too perfect, too tempting. You resist the urge to run toward it. That's how people die, chasing memory in a place that only respects presence. Your next real encounter is much less charming. A group of 6 men, bandits by the look of them, emerge from behind a sand dune like a bad plot twist. Their swords glint, their robes flap menacingly, and one of them is chewing a date pit like it's a cigar. Classic desert drama. "Nice satchel," the leader says. You glance down. It's glowing faintly. "That's new." You offer a weak smile. "Family heirloom," you say. They don't laugh. "Hand it over." Merchant. You stall. "Look, I would love to, but it's cursed. You know how these things are? Then open it." Another growls. "Prove it." And just like that, the satchel feels hot, burning, like holding a skillet from the wrong end. You wince. "I can't," you whisper. "I was told not to." "By who?" "An old man with a coin." Now they laugh. The bandits close in. You step back, then trip, falling hard onto the sand. The satchel lands beside you, pulsing like a heartbeat. The leader reaches down to grab it, and stops. There's a sound, low, humming, like a swarm of bees inside a brass bell. The bandits step back, eyes wide. One starts muttering a prayer, another just runs. The leader glares at you. "Keep your cursed pouch, fool!" Then he's gone. 2. You sit there, breathing sand, heart pounding, while the satchel quivers beside you like it's laughing. Historians still argue whether this section of the tale, the bandit escape, as some translations call it, was inserted later as a morality play. Others think it reflects actual trade route dangers. And a few fringe theorists believe it's proof the satchel contains something with a mind of its own. Possibly a relic, possibly a soul. Or, as one 19th century scholar dramatically insisted, the wind of God sealed in cloth. You don't care, you just want water. That night, you find a half-collapsed watchtower near a dried-out well. You tie up Sour Date, who is developing a smug strut, and search the ruins. You find a rusted sword, a pouch of dried figs, a scroll in a language that rearranges itself when stared at too long. Classic cursed architecture. You curl up in a corner, clutching the satchel like a child with a teddy bear. You're scared to sleep. What if the satchel moves again? What if it opens itself? You stay awake for hours, watching the stars blur overhead. Eventually, you drift off. You dream of your stall in Cairo. Only now, it's floating above the city, sails unfurled like a ship. You're selling spices to clouds. Your cat is wearing a turban and reciting poetry. You wake up crying again, but for different reasons. In the morning, you find the satchel lighter, as if it's shed something, or fed. You don't ask. By now, you've stopped pretending you understand this quest. The desert wants something from you. The satchel wants something else. And you? You just want your name back. The third day begins with a miracle. A small caravan approaches, banners fluttering with unfamiliar symbols. Traders? Pilgrims? More bandits in disguise? One woman waves to you. Her skin is sun-dark, her eyes clever. She rides a horse with silver reins and offers you water without asking your name. That alone makes her the kindest person you've met all week. You look lost, she says. You nod. She gestures eastward. Follow us. There's a place ahead not on any map. You hesitate, then follow. The satchel doesn't protest, but it shivers. You follow the caravan in silence, grateful for their pace, steady but not rushed, as if they know exactly how far you can push before you snap. The desert shifts subtly around you. Sand turns from golden to gray, then a strange shade of peach, as if the ground has been blushing for centuries. The leader of the group, the woman with the silver-reined horse, rides beside you for a while. She doesn't ask your name. That alone makes you trust her. Or maybe you're just too tired to lie anymore. You've come far, she says, but the hardest part lies beneath. You squint. Beneath what? She just nods at the horizon. By dusk, you see it, a hollow in the dunes. Barely visible unless the light catches it just right. A subtle crater, rimmed with jagged black stones and flickering mirages. At its center, ruins, massive columns, broken and half-sunken. Walls carved with images too weathered to read, figures with too many arms, moons cradled in palms, a goat wearing a crown. The city looks less abandoned and more hidden, like it wasn't destroyed. It was tucked away. You and the caravan descend. The air grows colder as you enter. The sand muffles sound, and the world goes quiet. No wind, no insects, just the crunch of feet and the whisper of stone remembering old stories. This is it, the woman says. The city beneath the sand. No one knows its true name. Even scholars today debate its identity. Some say it was an outpost of Iram, the lost city of pillars mentioned in the Quran. Others believe it was a pre-Islamic necropolis repurposed by merchants turned mystics. A few suggest it never existed, just a metaphor for the cost of knowledge. You aren't thinking about history. You're watching as a door opens in the sand. A perfect circle, edged in bronze, no hinges, no seams, just open, inside, darkness. Cool and inviting like a dream of night. You go alone, the woman says. The path won't appear for us. You glance at Sour Date. She groans, unimpressed. I won't be long. You tell her. She farts. A farewell. Maybe. You step inside? The darkness isn't empty. It hums. Faint echoes brush your ears. Your feet land on stone now, smooth and strangely warm. You light a torch, taken from the caravan's generous stock, and see carvings along the wall. They move. You freeze. The images shift gently, like silk in water. One shows a figure very much like you. Satchel at side, stepping into a city. Another shows you vanishing into flame. Another shows you sitting on a throne of coins. Yet another, confusingly, shows you baking flatbread. "What?" you whisper. "Even is this place?" A voice answers, not with words, with laughter. You continue walking. The corridor twists and dips. Doors line either side, some shaped like crescents, others like open mouths. You don't try to open them. You've learned. Eventually, you find a chamber, circular, lit by a soft green glow. In the center, a pedestal. Upon it, a scale. No coins, no scrolls, just a scale and a single instruction carved into the wall above. Lie to enter. Tell truth to leave. You blink. "Excuse me?" You look around. Nothing happens. This riddle feels too clever by half. But you've been carrying a satchel filled with probable curses across a godless desert for days. You're not backing out now. You step forward. The moment you touch the pedestal, a door opens. Behind it, a room of mirrors. You see yourself in a dozen different outfits. Merchant, beggar, child, corpse, king. The satchel is always there, pulsing faintly. You whisper a lie. "I never wanted to be rich." The room grows warmer. You whisper another. "I'm not afraid." A soft click. Another door opens. This continues, each chamber demanding a falsehood. "I loved her. I was innocent. I didn't choose this." You lie, again and again. Each time, the city lets you deeper in. Finally, you enter a room filled with statues, dozens of them, tall, elegant, weathered by time, all with faces smooth and blank, until they aren't. One turns, just slightly, not a full movement, just a shift, as if reacting to your presence. You freeze. Then another moves. They don't attack, they watch. A door appears behind them. The final one, it has no handle, no lock, no keyhole, only a mouth carved into the stone. Words etched above it. "What did you carry?" The satchel buzzes against your side. You realize something terrifying. You still don't know what's in it, but you know it's changed. Heavier, warmer, listening. You press your palm to the stone mouth and say, "A burden." The door opens. Historians still argue whether this segment is allegorical, symbolic, or pure myth-making. The city beneath the sand shows up in only a few versions of the tale. Some believe it was added by scribes to infuse philosophical meaning into a straightforward merchant story. Others say it's a cipher for real rituals practiced by secret societies tied to ancient trade routes. You don't care, because you're inside. And now, a woman is waiting for you. Her eyes glow like quicksilver. She sits upon a throne of carved obsidian, draped in sheer fabrics that move even when there's no wind. Her eyes glow like molten mercury, and her fingers tap an idle rhythm on the armrest, one you're certain mirrors your own heartbeat. She doesn't rise. She doesn't speak. She simply waits, like she's seen you in 1,000 dreams before this, and has grown very tired of waiting. You clear your throat. "I'm here to deliver something." Your voice sounds small, swallowed by the chamber's vaulted ceiling. The satchel is a furnace against your side now, pulsing, vibrating, more present than your own thoughts. The woman's lips curl, not into a smile, but something older, something amused and disappointed at the same time. "I know what you carry," she says, voice smooth as date syrup. "But do you?" You shake your head. She chuckles. "Then you've come very far to remain ignorant. You want to protest? Explain the desert, the bandits, the cursed city beneath the dunes? But it all seems petty here, like complaining about sand in your shoes at an audience with a star. I was told to bring it to you." "By who?" You pause. "An old man with a coin." She rolls her eyes. "Of course. Him." She rises. Her presence is immediate, immense. She is tall, not in a towering way, but in a way that makes you feel as though the room adjusts itself around her. She approaches slow, deliberate. Do you know where you are? You shake your head again. This city was built by a civilization that wanted to forget, she says. They crafted walls of silence, columns of untruth. They erased themselves from history not to be hidden, but to be left alone. You glance around. They're not here anymore? She tilts her head. Perhaps, or perhaps they walk among you, in Cairo, in Damascus, in the shadows of every market stall where a merchant forgets the weight of truth. That doesn't make you feel better. Then she gestures to a table that wasn't there before. A feast. Grapes like polished amethysts, lamb glazed in rosewater and saffron, breads puffed and steaming, spread with fig jam and sesame. She motions for you to sit. You do, mostly because your legs are trembling from hunger and nerves. She watches as you take a bite. It tastes like memory, something sweet you didn't know you missed. Something safe. Who are you? You ask, between cautious nibbles. A queen, she replies. Of sorts? Of nothing you'd understand. Helpful. As you eat, she circles the table, examining you like a jeweler studying a flawed gem. You seek your name back, she says. But names are sticky things. They cling to actions, to failures, to rumors and regrets. Do you truly want yours? Or would you rather make a new one? I just want to be me again, she laughs. And who is that, exactly? You say nothing. She gestures, and the satchel floats from your lap into her palm. She doesn't flinch at its heat. She cradles it like a child, then snaps her fingers. It opens. You expect gold, or ashes, or something screaming. Instead, a single stone, smooth, black, with a crack running through the center. That's it? You whisper. She nods. The weight of failure, carried by many. But you bore it further than most. You stare. She taps the stone. It splits gently, like a pomegranate opening. Inside, sand, glowing, whispering, swirling with light. This is the piece of your name that was stolen, she says. You lost it not when your fortune vanished, but long before, when you first believed success made you untouchable. The sting of truth burns more than the desert sun. Historians still argue whether this part of the story, the Queen of the Forgotten City, is a metaphor for conscience, for divine judgment, or simply for the consequences of unchecked pride. Fringe interpretations tie her to pre-Islamic moon goddesses. Others say she represents the merchant's own mother in dream form. No two translations agree. You're not interested in theories. You're watching as she presses the glowing sand back into the stone, seals the crack, and hands it to you. It is yours again, she says. But names earned through pain weigh more. You must carry this one differently. You accept it. It feels lighter than the satchel, but heavier than regret. Then, for the first time, she smiles, and you feel something loosen inside you. A wind moves through the chamber. The feast vanishes. The throne disappears. Only you and the queen remain. Your path lies upward, she says. Through illusions. Some will tempt you. Others will terrify. All of them are pieces of you. You nod. And when you leave, she adds, you may find that Cairo no longer waits as you left it. You open your mouth to ask, but the stone glows. The world tilts, and suddenly you're falling upward, sand swirling around you like a tornado of time. The queen is gone. The satchel, empty. Only the stone remains. You land, not with a crash, but a strange softness, like falling into a memory padded with velvet. The world tilts once, corrects itself, and then silence. You're standing in a market. Cairo? Maybe. But everything's wrong. The sky is lavender. The buildings shimmer at their edges like bad reflections in rippling water. People bustle around you, but their faces flicker, Sometimes men, sometimes women, sometimes both, sometimes neither. You see a beggar transforming mid-step into a royal scribe, then back again. A boy chases a chicken, then becomes the chicken. The chicken screams in Arabic. You've arrived at the market of swapped faces. No one told you about this place, but that's how it works. You try to walk through it like you belong. Bad idea. A man stops you immediately. He wears a robe covered in mirrors. Literally. Tiny ones. Sewn in spirals, catching the warped light. He holds out a tray of name tags. Each one bears a title. The forgotten one. She who lied. He who took too much. The one who came back. Pick one, the man says. You need a name here. You hesitate. I already have one. He laughs. No, you have regret. That's not the same. You scan the tags and finally point to the one who came back. He slaps it onto your chest. It burns, but politely. Try not to lose that, he says, and vanishes into a stall selling jars of laughter. Everywhere around you, bartering. But not for spices or goods, for identities. You pass a woman selling childhood memories for a handful of guilt. A man offers up his worst day in exchange for a lover's smile. There's a cloaked figure hawking secrets I haven't told yet, and a stall where you can trade nightmares for lullabies. One shady vendor whispers that for a lock of your hair, he can make someone else feel your shame for a whole day. You keep moving. The satchel is gone. The stone pulses in your pocket, warm like a coin that just remembered it used to be powerful. Then a voice. I know you. You turn, the woman who sold you your first spice cart back in Cairo. But younger. Her skin is unlined, her hair isn't gray, and she's not limping like she used to. You came back, she says, but not quite the same. I'm not sure where I am. She nods. Neither is anyone else. But we stay. We trade. We forget what we traded for. She hands you something. Your own reflection, in a small shard of bronze. You stare at it. Your face. But older. Weathered. Sadder. Somehow. Wiser. Maybe. You can take it back, she says. Or you can leave it here. Let someone else carry the memory of who you were. You hesitate. This market, this illusion, isn't just here to confuse you. It's testing you, asking, what are you willing to part with? And more importantly, what will you take in return? Historians still debate whether the market of swapped faces was an invention of later Islamic poets, meant to satirize the fluidity of identity in the bustling trade cities of the time. Others argue it's a spiritual metaphor for the Hajj, the transformative pilgrimage that strips you of self and remakes you anew. A few think it's just a fever dream someone scribbled down after too much date wine. You decide to keep the shard. Your past is yours. Even the messy parts. The moment you pocket the reflection, the market begins to flicker. The sky turns from lavender to deep green. The stalls blur. Traders shout in reversed speech. You stumble through a crowd that morphs mid-stride, people turning into birds, birds into dust, dust into echoes. At the edge of the market, a gate. It's guarded by a man with no face, not masked. Literally, just blank skin where features should be. He holds out a bowl filled with coins, each one stamped with a different expression. Anger, sorrow, hope, guilt, awe. To pass, he says, voice echoing from everywhere. Pay with what you felt most. You hesitate. Then you reach in and pull out guilt. The bowl accepts it. The gate swings open. Beyond, a staircase of bone-white stone, spiraling upward into clouds made of folded paper. Each step is etched with words you recognize from your own handwriting, but sentences you've never written. It's like reading your subconscious one floor at a time. You climb, and climb, and climb. When you reach the top, You find a room with only one item inside, a mirror. Not bronze, not polished glass, just you, present tense, unfiltered, fully you. You stare at yourself. The stone in your pocket grows warm again. For a second, the reflection smiles before you do. Then everything goes dark. You open your eyes to wind. Cold, fresh wind. The desert is gone. You're standing at the edge of a cliff, overlooking a city that looks like Cairo, but older, quieter, and slightly wrong. Time, it seems, has not waited for you. The city below whispers like a memory you haven't had yet. Familiar rooftops sit in unfamiliar places. The citadel has 4 towers instead of 3. The Nile curves the wrong way. Minarets tilt like crooked fingers pointing at nothing. You recognize it and don't. You know the streets and none of their names. The skyline is stitched together with déjà vu. You are not in Cairo, not the one you left, at least. The stone in your pocket pulses again. You take it out. It looks ordinary now. No glow, no humming, just a smooth black pebble, cool against your palm. But when you close your fist around it, you feel something. Regret? Not yours. Someone else's. The wind behind you shifts. You turn. A monastery clings to the edge of the cliff like it grew out of the stone. It's impossibly narrow. Only a single hallway wide, made of clay the color of dried blood. Its roof is flat and lined with ceramic jars glowing faintly. As you approach, a monk steps out to meet you. He wears no sandals. His feet are stained with moonlight. His robes are woven from paper and shadows, covered in looping script that moves when you don't look at it directly. His eyes are black, and so are his teeth. "You've brought the stone," he says. "Come, we're bottling moonlight tonight. Inside." The monastery is silent, but not still. It breathes. Wind hums through clay tunnels like a flute. Every door is circular. Every wall is uneven. There are no candles, yet the space is lit by moonlight, somehow captured, funneled, and distilled into the jars you saw outside. You follow the monk through winding halls, each filled with strange objects. A chandelier made of melted keys, a bird cage containing a gust of laughter, a sand painting that redraws itself every time you blink, a mirror that shows not your face, but the face of whoever you last loved. No one speaks. The other monks pass you silently, bowing once, then disappearing into alcoves made of woven thread. They carry jars in padded cloth. Some are full. Others are cracked and humming. In the deepest chamber, you find it. The bottling room, a round, domed space with no ceiling. The night sky arches above, raw and immediate. A hole in the center of the dome captures the moonlight, narrow, pure, pale gold. A waterfall of silver falls through it like liquid memory. The monks work silently. One holds a prism. Another stirs the air with a feather fan. A third chants, low and round like a drumbeat turned human. The monk who greeted you gestures to an empty jar. "Everyone brings something to bottle," he says. "Yours is not light. Yours is memory." He holds out his hand. You don't want to give him the stone, but you do. He places it in the center of a clay circle drawn on the ground. Around it, he places 7 objects: a tooth, a coin, a sprig of rosemary, a torn piece of map, a bone whistle, a lock of hair, and a compass that always points backward. Each begins to glow. The stone rises, spins, begins to hum. Then it speaks, not in words, but in voice, in tone. You don't understand the language. It's older than language, but you know what it means. It's telling your story. Everything, from the spice stall where you first laughed as a child, to the day you sold your best customer-watered saffron just to make rent. The lies you told your mother. The ache you carried after your friend drowned in the canal. The money you stole. The apologies you never said. The taste of mint tea in the early morning. The way your lover's voice cracked when they said goodbye. The room flickers with the memories, and you weep. Not because they're painful, because they're yours, and because until this moment, you hadn't realized how many you'd lost. The jar fills with light. Not silver, not gold, but something else entirely. A pearly, flickering substance like truth rendered liquid. The monk caps the jar, seals it with wax made from crushed regrets, and hands it to you. This is your burden, he says, but also your offering. What do I do with it? You give it to the one who remembers you. And just like that, the monastery is gone. No farewell, no warning, just gone. You're standing in a street. Cairo again? But a different version. You see steam curling from vendors' stalls, hear prayers echo from the mosque steps, smell bread baking in alley ovens. Children dart past you chasing a wooden hoop. An old man sells words, real ones, from a pushcart, each one with a price written in chalk. A blind woman recites poetry in exchange for truths you're not supposed to know. And then you see them, a young person with your eyes, your crooked smile. They look at you like they've seen you in a dream. You approach. They hold out their hand. You give them the jar. They don't ask what it is. They don't need to. As they take it, you feel something. Loosen. Not pain. Not joy. Just release. The wind shifts again. The world tilts. And you vanish into the next part of your story. You land on your feet, barely. Cobblestones scrape your soles. The air is thick with the scent of figs, lamp oil, and something burning, probably cloves. The sky is not night and not day, a permanent twilight. The clouds don't move. The shadows point in two directions at once. You are not in Cairo. Not again. Not exactly. This is the city of mirages, and it's already inside your head. You know this because the first man you see is you, not just a look-alike, not a stranger with similar hair. It's you, as you were when you were 12. Filthy knees, missing front tooth. You're biting into a stolen date and grinning with too much pride. You try to speak, but the child, you vanishes behind a curtain of mist. The air shimmers, and the market unfolds ahead of you like a game board. You are being watched, not by eyes, by the city. The archways lean closer when you pass. The fountains whisper your name. The buildings shift slightly when you're not looking. You blink, and the layout changes. Every turn brings you back to the same plaza. 9 statues ring a dry fountain. Each one wears a different mask. A lion, snarling. A moon, crying. A blank slate. A fox with coins for eyes. A child with 3 mouths. A bird with no beak. A hand. A skull made of mirrors. And the last? Your own face, carved in obsidian. You are not surprised. Something tells you this is the trial of the 9 mirages. You've heard of it, or dreamt of it. Maybe both. From nowhere, a voice speaks. Not aloud. Inside you. Pass the trial, or become part of the fountain. Fail once, and your soul forgets itself. Fail twice, and you become someone else's dream. Fail 3 times, and you'll never wake up again. Simple enough? You approach the lion mask. The moment your hand touches it, the world flips. Suddenly, you're in a vast desert arena. The wind screams. A lion with 7 tails charges. No weapons, no shield, just your wits. You drop to the ground. The sand tells you a secret. There's a bone beneath your heel, buried. You grab it. The lion pounces. You throw the bone into the air and scream a name you don't remember knowing. The lion freezes, mid-air, turns into smoke. You blink, back at the fountain. 1 mask glows blue. 8 remain. The next, the moon mask. Touch, sudden silence. You're in a courtyard made of mirrors. Someone is crying. You follow the sound. You find a version of yourself, curled up, sobbing. They're older, worn, a traveler who never made it home. They don't recognize you. You kneel. You offer no comfort. You listen. When they stop crying, the mirrors melt. One shows your reflection again. The moon glows blue. Next, the blank slate. Touch, nothing. The void. You float in blackness. A voice speaks. What are you called? You say your name. It is erased. What are you called? You say your name again. It is erased again. A third time. You hesitate. Instead, you say, I am the story being told. The void smiles. Back at the plaza. 3 blue masks now. 6 remain. You do not need to do them all. Just 5. But you continue. The fox mask. Coins spin in your hand. A bazaar filled with merchants. All of them selling you. Your laughter, your memory, your regrets. Prices and smells, sounds, stolen futures. You barter. Trade your fear of heights for a dream you once had of flying. You leave before they can charge interest. The fox glows blue. 4 past. 1 more. The skull mirror. You see all the faces you've worn. The lies you told to survive. The truths you hid to protect others. A question hangs in the air. Which version is the real you? You don't answer. Instead, you place your hand on the glass and say, they all were, and they all are. The mirror cracks and bows. 5 trials complete. The fountain begins to flow. Not water, but time. Liquid time. It spills over the edge in loops and pulses. You step closer, and suddenly your mind aches with memory. The caravan, the queen, the sandstorm, the marketplace of names, the dog who never barked, the tear in your mother's eye when you left, the taste of the fig your friend gave you before they vanished forever. The time you wasted, the time you still have, and one final image. A gate. Massive, gold, floating between 2 impossible trees. Beyond it, nothing but starlight and wind. The trial is over. But your story is not. The city begins to crumble, gracefully, like a story ending itself. You walk away as the cobblestones sigh. You do not look back. You never do. When the mirages fade, the starlight swallows the city behind you. There is no sound now, not even your own breath. You walk forward because there is nothing else. No road, no wall, no destination, just a feeling, guiding you like a string wrapped around your ribs and tugged gently forward. And then, it appears, the gate, exactly as the vision showed, flanked by 2 trees that twist like question marks, one made of ash, the other of wind. The gate itself is a thing of contradiction. Gold, yes, but dull like sand-worn brass. It's massive, yes, but when you step closer, it seems no taller than your shoulder. And when you raise a hand to touch it, you are already on the other side. The stars blink out. You're back in Cairo, but not quite. The streets are too clean. The lanterns burn with still flames. A pomegranate splits silently on a windowsill and does not drip. You see a young man brushing his donkey's flank in slow motion, a vendor tossing cinnamon into the air. But the spice floats and never falls. The world is held together with thread, and someone is tightening the knot. You walk through the familiar streets, but no one sees you. No one calls your name. You don't cast a shadow. You check your hands. They're real, but more transparent than they were before. You are present, but not quite stitched into the world. Then, a voice behind you. Took you long enough. You turn, the stranger from the desert, still wearing his face like a borrowed scarf. Only now he has no shadow either. He tosses the satchel you carried so long ago at your feet. You open it. Inside, a single copper coin. Old, burnished, familiar. You know this coin. It belonged to your father. He used to flip it into the air when making decisions. Yes or no, trade or wait, stay or flee. You lost it after he died. Or perhaps you gave it away. You're no longer sure. You pick it up. It burns your skin, but gently, like tea too hot to sip. That coin is your weight, the stranger says. Your anchor. You gave it up when you chose the journey. Now it's yours again. You frown. Why? The stranger smiles. Because Cairo remembers you. He points behind you. You turn, and there they are. Faces. Every face you met. The queen of the sands, her eyes full of silver tears. The monk who bottled moonlight, holding his hands to his heart. The child version of yourself, sticky with dates and laughter. The lion you outwitted, pacing beside you with dignity. The merchant with your face, nodding solemnly. They stand in a perfect circle around you, not speaking, not threatening, not even entirely real, but watching. The stranger explains, you crossed your own tail. You walked through names and faces and never gave in. You passed the mirages. You returned. You whisper. But return to what? He tilts his head. To Cairo, or rather to your Cairo, and you understand, not the city, not the stones, but the story of the city, the one that lived in your chest even when you forgot it. The version of Cairo built by your footsteps, your losses, your regrets. Is it real? You ask. The stranger shrugs. Are you? Then he nods toward a doorway, a small, crooked thing. Familiar. You used to walk through it every day as a boy. It led to the spice shop your uncle owned. It smells like nutmeg and regret. You take a step, and suddenly you are whole again. Your skin is yours. Your shadow returns. The ground remembers your weight. You're back. The people bustle around you. The heat returns. The noise. The donkey brays. The coins clink. You hear someone shouting about grapes near the harbor. You blink. Your satchel is gone. Your hands are empty. But your heart is not. You carry a city inside you now. And maybe, just maybe, it carries you too. You begin to walk, not toward a destination, but onward. As stories always do, you find yourself once more under the relentless gaze of the desert. The twilight of Cairo stretching before you like a tapestry woven with light and shadow. The crowded whispers of the city fade into a stillness that is both eerie and inviting. Today, the very air seems to hold its breath, as if the dunes themselves have gathered to witness your final choice. The memory of every step, every hardship, every strange encounter echoes in your heart and in the grains of sand at your feet. You stand at a crossroads, not a literal junction, but a moment in time when the weight of your journey forces you to confront who you have become. The copper coin in your palm grows warm, reminding you of the man you once were and of the legacy of your father, whose small acts of chance and courage had once shaped your destiny. Now, with the cumulative echoes of all those spectral voices from Cairo and the shifting mirages of memory, you must decide. Will you reclaim the name that once defined you, or will you let yourself be carried away into the endless dunes, becoming one with the legends whispered on desert winds? A soft murmur arises from the sands, as if ancient storytellers have risen from below. The desert, which cradles the remnants of vanished empires, recalls histories written in the Mamluk era when merchants ruled the trade routes and reputations could make or break kingdoms. You remember that even the greatest names in history were often built on a series of choices, each fraught with risk and magic. Quirky tales tell of merchants who, upon losing everything, found solace in the unlikeliest of fortunes, sometimes through hidden blessings in the form of a stray coin or a whispered secret from the wind. Historians still argue whether such moments represent divine intervention or mere coincidence. Now, standing amid swirling sands and relics of your past, you muse on the many voices that have accompanied you on this odyssey, each a reminder of your failures, your triumphs, and the deep scars you've earned. The bustling market, the spectral queen, the silent monk, even the faceless stranger all converge here into one final tableau. You feel the pull of your old life, the Cairo of familiar sounds and scents. Yet you also sense the irresistible call of the wild dunes, where anonymity provides freedom and reinvention. A gentle smile tugs at your lips despite the seriousness of the moment. You recall a joke the bandit leader once made about the satchel feeling hot enough to fry a camel's ear. A remark that, absurd as it was, lightened even the bleakest desert night. You chuckle softly to yourself, aware that humor has been the thread in the tapestry of your journey. a thread that has bound you to both your pain and your resilience. As you stand, the wind stirs and seems to murmur. Choose. It is as if the desert itself, in all its ancient wisdom, has decided your fate. You can feel the pull from the sands, a reminder that once you vanish, the stories of your footsteps will meld with the murmuring dunes. Yet, on the other side, the memory of Cairo beckons, a promise of redemption and a chance to rebuild what was lost. The dichotomy is as clear as day and night, as ancient as the Sphinx's riddle. You close your eyes. In this suspended breath of time, you recall every betrayal, every moment of joy, every whispered secret that helped sculpt the man you are now. For a heartbeat, you feel the identity you lost, the name that was once proudly worn like a crown at the spice stalls, the markets, and the hidden corridors of myth. With the coin pressed against your chest, you lean forward, compelled by a deep, unspoken resolve. In that heavy silence, a voice, one you recognize as your own, yet imbued with the collective wisdom of your journey, speaks softly. I reclaim my name. The words roll off your tongue like a benediction over ancient parchment. And in that moment, the sands stir violently as if cheering in unison, erasing the boundaries between what was and what could be. The desert smiles upon you. History and myth entwine in a cosmic dance, and the legacy of every lost moment is suddenly, undeniably yours again. Yet, as you step forward, the alternative also tugs at you, a whisper inviting you to dissolve into the timeless dance of wind and sand, to let go entirely and become part of the endless horizon. You pause, feeling the dual pull of memory and oblivion, of identity and freedom. In that delicate instant, the coin dims in your palm as you weigh each possibility. History, with its endless twists, reminds you that every decision bears both a blessing and a curse. The choice is irrevocable, a final note in a long, wandering symphony. The sand, having witnessed lifetimes of triumphs and sorrows, knows your answer already. It prepares to etch your chosen path into its ancient record. And as the sun sinks lower, casting long shadows across the city and the dunes alike, you step forward, your decision a silent promise that your name, your story, will echo across the centuries, shaped by every grain of memory. A final gust of wind sweeps through, as though congratulating you or bidding you farewell. It is impossible to tell which. The desert holds you now, a guardian of both your past and your rebirth, ready to carry the weight of your soul into whatever twilight lies ahead. The ancient sands murmur one last truth. In the end, it always remembers everything. The world around you slows to a gentle lull. The evening light softens, wrapping the city in a warm, honeyed glow. You pause for a breath, feeling the cool, tender caress of night settling over your skin. Every sound dims to a tranquil whisper, the soft footfall on cobbled streets, the distant call of a muezzin blending into the hum of the night air. The relentless rush of life eases into a comforting quietude, inviting you to linger in this gentle reverie. In the fading light, the faces of Cairo and the desert become soft, almost like memories in a fading photograph. The murmurs of the crowd recede, replaced by the soft, rhythmic cadence of your heartbeat, steady, soothing, and intimate. With each step you take, the residual echoes of your journey nestle into the folds of your soul, quiet but persistent reminders of every choice made, every moment reclaimed. Even the wind, now a tender lullaby, seems to murmur a promise of renewal and rest. You feel both a profound connection to the past and a serene detachment, as if you are witnessing your own story from afar. The lingering warmth of the day mingles with the cool breath of the night, and you find comfort in the knowledge that no matter what has transpired, you are exactly where you need to be. The desert, the city, and the memories, all woven together, sing a quiet ode to perseverance and hope. In this calm, final moment, you allow yourself to be cradled by the vast, unending beauty of life, knowing that your story, etched into the sands of time, will always remain a part of the gentle, eternal night.
you.